Okay. Good morning, everybody. Um, I'm going to give people a few minutes to tune in here. Um, I'm also adding people in real time here. So I'm just going to give everybody a few minutes here to kind of wander into this video. And like I said, what we're going to talk about today is true mindfulness. And really what the difference is between what you think you're doing and what most people think they're doing, that is mindfulness, and what is actually true mindfulness. And I think a lot of people struggle with this topic because there's not a lot of clear information out there about what mindfulness actually is. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lydia Catherine. I'm the host here and the owner here. I'm a board certified hypnotist over at Build Yourself Inside Life Coaching and Hypnosis over here in Alexandria, Virginia. And I want to welcome you to this page. If you're in this group, you have, hey there, good morning. How's everybody doing? Hi, Joanne. How are you? If you've wandered into this group, it's most likely because you've been struggling with some pains, right? Some anxiety, um, some discomfort, perhaps emotionally or in your body. And, I think what's happened is over time, this word mindfulness has gotten sort of watered down because it's slapped all over magazine covers today. Like you can't check out at the grocery store without seeing mindfulness plastered on some sort of psychology magazine or some health and fitness magazine. And we hear things like mindful eating, mindful communication, just being mindful when we're driving, mindful when we're talking to people. It's like, well, what does this mean, being mindful? Because if you're thinking that being mindful is counting your calories, then no, this is not mindfulness. And I'm just gonna go in and add a few more people here as people are rolling in. Okay. And if we freeze at any time, I'm going to be back, and my connection here isn't the greatest. So if we do freeze at any time, stay tuned. We'll be right back in here. And this video, I'll be trimming this video at the end, and it'll be available to you on this page as long as you're in the group. So let's go back to what we're talking about here. I think often what people think is mindfulness is like, well, mindful eating is let me count my calories, right? Let me use my fitness pal, let me count my calories. And while that can help you to be mindful, this is not mindfulness, actual mindfulness practice. Another great example is, okay, let me be more mindful in my relationships. Let me be more mindful with my spouse or with my children. And we might think, okay, me being more careful, me editing myself or speaking in a way or reacting out of fear, right? Like oftentimes, if we struggle or suffer from anxiety a lot in our relationships, we worry about setting off a bomb in our relationships, right? We will edit ourselves, we'll be more mindful about what we say and how we say it. This is not true practice of mindfulness. This is not what true mindful practice is, at least not in an effective way. Mindfulness is not you going through your day editing yourself and out of fear, right? So what is actually mindfulness? Like what is actually, how can, and what I'm going to give you here today is actually practical things that you can start to do, like actual practices and practical things and exercises you can start to take with you today to start doing this in the proper way, in the most effective way. And like I said, it's not about counting calories. It's not about labeling and judging other people. Now I'm becoming more mindful because I know that guy or that girl's a jerk. This is not mindfulness. This is a judgment. These are labels. So you learning things, like you learning, theorizing about your environment or theorizing about people around you. This is not mindfulness either. And I think this is where we get tripped up and where we think we're actually growing and we're not. And if you have any questions, comment in the video below because I want to answer your questions. So, and it also lets me know that everything I'm saying you're understanding and is clear for you. So feel free to comment in the box below and let me know what questions or comments that you have as we roll on through this topic. So, theorizing and learning, this is not mindfulness. Judgment statements, labeling, blaming others, this is not all acts of mindfulness. So what true mindfulness really is your ability to be present in reality, your ability to be able to be in touch with reality as it is. Yeah, yeah. Meditation, I'm so glad you brought up meditation because there's a lot of different types of meditation out there, but and mindfulness meditation just being one type of meditation. And often a lot of my clients come in and they think they're doing mindfulness meditation or they think they're practicing mindfulness, and actually they're getting caught up in these games, right? These conceptualizing and theorizing about their environment, and they're wondering why they're not getting results. So, yeah, if you can nail down mindfulness meditation and start to do this right, and I'm gonna teach you how to start doing this towards the end. Um, yeah, editing yourself through fear, Joanne. Yeah, I mean, gosh, this isn't mindfulness. This is us being reactive, right? If we're editing ourselves, if we feel like we're walking around on eggshells around our partner, or when we're out in public, or we're on a date, or we're doing public speaking, then you're actually not being mindful. You're actually losing consciousness when you become emotionally charged. And so let's go back to what mindfulness actually is: being in touch with reality as it appears and as your senses are taking in that moment. So being real, when you're practicing mindfulness, what you're actually doing, if you're doing this properly, is that you're aware. There's a level of awareness that's your awareness has gone up, your consciousness has gone up, and you can simply switch into this by just noticing, noticing what you're hearing. Like, begin really taking an active participation in your senses. What are you hearing right now? Like even right now, just go ahead and scan the room and just become aware of anything that you're hearing, including the sound of my voice. Start taking notes on what is it that you're seeing in front of you. Like for the things that you're noticing, just type it into the comment box. Like, let me know what you're noticing. What are you hearing? What are you seeing? You might be seeing a computer. You might be looking at a phone screen. You might be looking at me on your phone screen, right? Or on your computer screen. What's literally in front of you? What's literally there? Like, when your eyes are closed, if you're meditating with your eyes closed, you might see black, you might see red, right? Depending on the lighting in the room. It's going to be different for everybody, but this also counts. Becoming aware of the negative space. I feel like this took things to the next level for me, which is becoming aware of the negative space in the room. Becoming aware of the silence in between the noises that you hear, the silence in between the words that I say. Like, notice there is a silence in between the words that I say. Your dog. Yeah. And just by taking a mental note, it's like you're just taking notes. You're not inside your head making up stories about your dog. You're not in your head making up stories about this person or that lamp or the table in front of you or your TV. You're not thinking about the last thing you watched yesterday, because now you're going down a rabbit hole. Now you're actually losing consciousness and awareness when you go into storytelling mode, or you became emotionally activated by your environment. So this is how easy it is to switch into this place, is literally tune in, like turn all of your attention that's going out, turn it inside, and just bring your attention to what you're seeing. And if you're, what also counts is what you're picturing in your mind. What are you imagining? Like, are you noticing, like, do you have flashbacks come up in your mind, flashbacks from the past? Because if you really start to pay attention, you'll start to notice, you'll get these flashbacks that'll come up when you really start to pay attention. Like even right now, just go ahead and picture a strawberry in your mind. And when I say strawberry, notice what comes up for you. Maybe it's a strawberry that you saw recently, or it's a strawberry that a picture that you're manufacturing in your mind, like you're creating it. You know, what are the colors that you're applying? Is it one strawberry? Is it many? Is it cut up? Is it whole? Right? These are the things, this is really what really takes mindfulness to the next levels, not when you're just paying attention. I mean, you know, being mindful, taking notes on your environment. So what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're smelling, what you're tasting. You know, the air temperature in the room. I like to include other things like the feeling on your skin. Like, are you feeling anything on your skin? Are you wearing a necklace? Are you wearing earrings? Do you feel your hair around your neck? These type of things. And then also becoming aware of what you're feeling on the inside, right? So there's two different levels of feeling. There's feelings, what you feel on the inside, and what you're feeling on your skin, right? Like maybe it's a temperature, maybe it's a texture of the chair that you're seated on, or the couch that you're seated on, the feeling of your feet in your socks or your shoes. All of this stuff, you want to kind of take a few minutes to really to bring yourself present. This is how you really bring yourself present, is just by doing this. And if this is resonating with you, if this is making sense for you, go ahead and let me know in the comment box. You know, tell me about what you've done in the past, and maybe what has not worked and what has worked, and is this making sense for you? This is the true practice of mindfulness. It's when you're looking at your spouse, right? And you're not in the storytelling place. You're just looking literally what's in front of you. Like what it like you're looking at the color of his or her hair, or like the color of the clothes that they're wearing. Or maybe there's a shadow behind them, or the sound of their own voice. You're literally just experiencing what's in front of you. Okay, I'm just adding people in here as we go here. Yeah, so distractions are one of the biggest issues people struggle with mindfulness. So why is mindfulness important? Why is it important to practice this? Because I think another issue is that people don't practice it because they don't know what they can expect from like a true and effective and a proper practice of mindfulness. Why is this important? So here's the thing. All of us are going throughout our day, and you know, we're getting work done, we're attending to our to-do lists, we're attending to our kids, we're making phone calls, we're sending emails. But can you actually remember what you experienced yesterday at like, let's say at like 3 o'clock? Can you remember the actual experience of sending that email or taking that call? And I don't mean, can you go back and remember it in your mind? That's not what I'm talking about here. This isn't mindfulness. I mean, can you actually remember like the feeling of the keyboard beneath your hands? Or how were you feeling when you sent that email or you were making that phone call? What were you experiencing when you did the thing? Did something set you off? Did something shift your emotional state? It's really the practice of being able to be in the moments, but also be in a very objective place, almost as if an example I give my clients is think about like when you're at the zoo or when you're looking at a rainbow, right? When you see a rainbow pop up right after a rainstorm, often there's this wow, there's this like incredible, like, oh my gosh, we're not sitting there judging it. We're not making the rainbow wrong for what it is, right? We're not labeling it. We're just taking it in. We're just noticing how it feels to us. Maybe we feel inspired, we feel shocked, we feel surprised, right? And or another great example is like think about when you're at the zoo and you're just looking at the animals through a glass window or through some bars or whatever through their cage. You're not sitting there judging it, right? You're not, I mean maybe some of you are, but this isn't what I'm talking about here. But it's as if you're just watching, like a researcher watching these animals. And you're just literally just taking notes on these animals. Oh, look, like that, that bird just flew over to that branch. Or that monkey just made a noise. That monkey just, you know, um, walked over to a friend or walked over to one of the other monkeys. Or maybe you feel, maybe for those of you who have pets, maybe you feel the energy from your pets. You feel the emotions from your pet. I know with my cat, I can definitely tell when she's angry. I can feel when she's angry, and she's having a little temper tantrum. And for those of you who have kids, right? Like, what if you started to go throughout your day and instead of getting emotionally charged, instead of creating stories and fantasizing, because that's often what we're doing is instead of being present, instead of actually taking in what's in front of us and being present in reality and grounded in reality, we're often in this fantasy world and we're making up stories about the person in front of us. We're making up stories, for those of you who maybe struggle with social anxieties, right? What are you doing right before you go out? What is the story you're telling yourself on the way to that party or on the way to that networking event or on that way to that meeting, right? Are you imagining some sort of flashback in your mind, some movie in your mind? This is the practice of true mindfulness. This is about really being grounded in your experience in the moment. And what's the gift of this? Why do this work? Does anyone here know what mindfulness can actually help you achieve if done properly? Do any of you practice mindfulness? Go ahead and say yes in the box or no. There's no right or wrong here, right? Often I find people don't practice certain things, or they don't meditate or they don't do things that they theoretically know is good for them because they just don't know why. They don't see the value in it because maybe you haven't gotten results from it. And I wouldn't do it either, right? There's been a lot of therapists that I've gone to see and I haven't done how many of you have been there, right? Maybe you've seen a therapist, right? That gave you all these tools and techniques, a meditation here, an audio to listen to, a breathing technique, right? A counting technique, and you didn't keep it up, right? Does this sound familiar? You didn't keep it up. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's not because you're a bad person, right? Often we go into these stories. What I find is it's simply because we didn't see the value in it. We weren't getting any value in it. And we do what we find that is valuable to us. We prioritize what we see as making change and changing our results in life, right? We make time for the things that are actually serving us. And if you knew that by practicing mindfulness, um, just going to add in a few more people here. Bear with me just a minute as everybody kind of trickles in. Being fully present has been difficult. Yeah, exactly. Yep. I'm so glad you brought up, old traumas. So what will happen is when we're trying to meditate, right? Or we're trying to be mindful, we'll have flashbacks popping up. We'll hear something that our parents said like 20 years ago, right? Will pop up in our minds. Or we'll have a flashback to a fight we had with our spouse or with a friend of ours that we had like 2 weeks ago. And exactly. The cornerstone here of really being able to be successful with mindfulness is to really master your focus. This is one of the pillars of having an effective practice of mindfulness. And this is a skill you can train. I know a lot of us feel helpful. I get distracted so easily. Next thing you know, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'll be sending an email, I'll be on the phone, I'll get that text. I'll be focused in a meeting, and next thing you know, my mind is wandering all this down this road. Exactly. Exactly. This is going to happen. And there's nothing wrong with you because of that. You're not a bad person because of that. There's nothing flawed about you because of that. This is how our subconscious is. This is what it's wired to do. It's wired to go down rabbit holes and search for threats. And so, what we get to do is practice noticing that. This is also when you're doing mindfulness properly, is you're noticing when you're starting to go down those rabbit holes. You're noticing when those flashbacks are popping into your mind. You're noticing when your emotional state changes when you're around an angry person or when somebody raises their voice at you. Instantly your body goes into a threat mode, right? Your defenses go up. Using your breath as an anchor is really great. I know a lot of people struggle with this because they're like, oh, well, I listen to my breath and I'm still distracted. Well, then you're not doing this properly. You want to apply 2 of your senses to whatever it is you're focusing on. A lot of my clients who come in the door struggle with practicing mindfulness. Why? Because they're taught to just listen to something or to picture something or to pay attention to something. But here's the problem. If you're only applying one of your senses, if you're only paying attention to what you're hearing, let's say the sound of your breath, your visual senses are unoccupied, that will wander. Or if you pay attention to what's in front of you, like here's a great way to ground yourself visually, pay attention to what's in front of you, literally what's in front of you. But what's going to happen is your auditory senses are going to wander. So you want to occupy 2 of your senses always at the same time. This is true focus and mastery. Is if you're going to shift your attention to your breath, count inside your mind as you're paying attention to the sound of your breath. If you're shifting to, I'm visualizing a beach, this is why just visualizing a beach doesn't help. But if you visualize a beach and hear the waves, like imagine what the waves sound like in your mind as you're visualizing a beach. Now we're going somewhere here. Now we're firing on all cylinders because we're applying 2 senses at the same time. Not just one, not just hearing, not just visualizing. You have to apply 2 of your senses. Typically, what you're hearing and what you're seeing is going to be enough. So if you struggle to fall asleep, if you struggle with insomnia, right? Who here struggle with insomnia like their whole life? Me being one of them. A lot of therapists taught me to count backwards or count sheep or imagine sheep. And it never worked for me because I was either just imagining sheep jumping or I was just counting backwards. And you need to do both. To make this effective, you want to imagine the sheep doing whatever, jumping over that fence. And you want to count in your mind so you're actually talking to yourself. And when you start to practice, apply 2 of your senses at the same time, you're going to start to experience magic. This is mastering your focus, is being able to actively shift your focus back to whatever it is you're focused on or you want to be focused on. And remember, this is something you're already doing. You're already in control of your focus. The question becomes are you aware when you become when you lose your focus? Are you aware when you lose your focus and it goes somewhere else? Because you're always focused on something. You're always focused on something. Focus is never the problem. Losing your attention to something else, having your focus switch to something else, that's the issue here. Your focus is fine. You want to be in control of where your focus is going. Let's set that goal. Let's make that the new goal, because you're always focused on something. So, what are the gifts of practicing true mindfulness? And then I'm going to go into an exercise with you all, and this is something that you can start to do today. And this is going to be something you're going to want to do, at least a challenge for 30 days. Like, do this every day for 30 days. And so the gifts of doing this properly is being able to go through your day and detach and dissociate from the experiences going on in your body. And I'm not talking about being in denial here, not stuffing them down, not ignoring what's there. That's not mindfulness. You have not actually raised consciousness and awareness here. You've actually you're just shifting what you're doing and what your attention is on. True mindfulness, when you're doing this right, is you're going to notice emotions coming up in you in the moments. And you're going to be instead in that observer position, in that researcher position, like where you're just taking notes. Oh, that's interesting. Like my breathing just started to speed up. Or I just felt that spike of adrenaline in my body. This is so good for anxiety, guys. This is so good for anxiety. I'm telling you, if you can master mindfulness, you will never need help again with anxiety. Unless it's related to some trauma that keeps coming up. I mean, even then, you can cure any self-sabotaging habits with this alone when you really get good at it. When you really practice this, when you really start to see results, you will be able to auto-correct any bad habits, any emotion that's uncomfortable, or any of these stories, and dissociate and detach from any of the stories that we tell ourselves that keep us from doing the things that we really want to do. Right? Maybe you're afraid to start that business, or to put yourself on camera, or to go to a social event, a gathering. Especially with COVID, a lot of us have been in our houses for so long, and we've gotten comfortable. We've gotten comfortable being by ourselves and less comfortable being around other people who can relate. Right? COVID has kind of kept us. If this resonates with you, go ahead and put me in the comment box. Right? In fact, I did my first in-person talk after 2 years, and I could feel a lot of old stories, old feelings coming up that I used to have when I used to do talks. And by really practicing this mindfulness and really practicing actually being in a grounded place and experiencing reality as it is, as it appears in front of you, as what you're hearing in the moment. You're not making up stories. You're not theorizing about stuff. You're not judging things around you. You're just observing and experiencing. Yeah, dissociating, right, is you blocking, right? Dissociating, yeah, if you have traumatic memories coming up, and all of us do, the question becomes, are you aware of it? Are you aware of the memories that are flashbacks that are coming up? And then, do you know how to deal with them? I specialize in regression and trauma hypnosis. If this is something you ever need help with, you're welcome to private message me. But this practice of mindfulness can help us heal all of these things. We can start to do this on our own. And if you don't feel like you're already going in the right direction, then reaching out for help is going to be really beneficial for you, just to get yourself going in the right direction. And so, in a nutshell, what mindfulness allows us to achieve is to be able to achieve a state of inner peace, a state of inner calmness, a state of relaxation, and really being able to be and act from and speak from your authentic self, right? Because when you're relaxed, right? What do all confident people have in common? When you've seen a confident person, what do they all have in common? They're all typically relaxed in their bodies. There's a lot of openness, right? They're not closed off, or There's good eye contact. They're standing up straight. Someone who's just able to be comfortable with themselves is typically at peace on the inside, right? And it doesn't mean we're going through life pretending things aren't coming up. Like if this traumatic memory comes up, we're not ignoring it. We're aware, okay, there it is. There's that memory. Here's how you work with traumatic memories from a mindful place. Is okay, this memory keeps popping up. Interesting that it's there. You're not getting lost in the emotions. You're not going down a rabbit hole, creating meanings out of things and creating fears about the future. But you're just noticing that it's there. And then we get to ask ourselves the question of why is it there? What is this? What am I making this mean about me, right? What is the meaning I'm making about this? That's a good mindful question. Instead of making meanings, you're just becoming aware that you are making meanings, right? And so what mindfulness allows us to do is to move through life, to move through our day in just complete inner peace. And it's because we're dealing with the things that are coming up for us from a place of calmness, of being grounded, and seeing things for what they really are instead of the stories we place on the things. Right? It's like you've taken the glasses off. You've taken these rose-colored glasses off, and you're seeing things, you're seeing people, you're just letting everything unravel in front of you. And you're present. You're not ruminating about the past. You're not worrying about the future. You're right here, right now. And in fact, this is always the case. This is never not the case. The question is, have you noticed that yet? Have you noticed that there is no other time but now? And this is all you can control, this moment right now. In fact, one of my favorite quotes that I said, and if this is helpful for you, is when you take care of the present, the future takes care of itself. And I know when I heard that quote, my body immediately calmed down. When you take care of the present, the future takes care of itself. So how can you start to practice this right now? I'm going to give you a really simple way to start practicing this today. And what I recommend is do this for like 15 minutes a day for 30 days. Don't miss a day. If you miss a day, you start over. And there's a reason for this. There's a compounding effect over time that we get from doing this properly. A compounding effect, right? This is all hypnosis, by the way. All meditation is hypnosis, but not all hypnosis is meditation. So what we're practicing here is self-hypnosis now. Hypnotizing yourself to be dissociated, to be separate from, to be in the observer position, to be in the researcher position, and being able to come at things from a very calm place, being able to tackle your goals, go into that meeting, do that public speaking, being able to fall asleep from a calm place, from just being yourself, speaking your mind in the present. When you're present is a lot easier than speaking your mind when you're ruminating about the past or worried about the future, right? So sit down in a place. It doesn't matter where you are. You want to be able to focus, right? So it's good to be by yourself for this. And pick something in front of you. Like pick a table or pick your TV as it's off, or pick a point on the wall. You can look at a pen. It doesn't matter. But you're going to bring your attention, your focus to this thing. You can even do this outside if you wanted. You can put your attention on a tree, on a leaf, just anything that's not going to go anywhere. And when you're in a mindful place, here's what you're doing now differently. When you're not making up stories, when you're not theorizing, when you're not conceptualizing, when you're not judging and trying to make up stories, instead, notice exactly what's in front of you. What is the texture? What textures are you seeing on the tree? What are the colors? What are the shades that you're noticing? And again, you're not talking about this to yourself. Here's another pitfall we fall into, is we start talking about it to ourselves. Don't do that. Just observe. It's like you're taking notes. Like, again, you're watching an animal in the zoo. You're just taking notes. Interesting. The colors, the shape, the texture. Is there a feeling you have on your skin in that moment? If you're outside, do you feel the wind on your face? If you're inside, maybe you're listening to birds chirping outside, or you're looking at the bird outside, right? But just literally observing what's in front of you and around you. And in order to make this easy, I would pick one thing to focus on. Like I said, it can be anything. I would pick an inanimate object and just observe it. Observe the textures, the colors, the size, the shape. Do you feel good when you're around it? What's the feeling in your body? And then what's the feeling on your skin? Do you feel anything on your skin? And now you can start to really open up all of your senses. Is there anything you're tasting? Is there anything you're smelling? And you're literally just taking in the moment. You're literally just taking in the moment. And just do this for about, like, set a timer for like 5 minutes to really observe this one thing that you're going to put your attention on. You know, it can be a person too, right? Like, observe the color of their hair, the colors on their clothing, the color of their skin, the shades of their skin. How do you feel when you're around them? What's coming up? What's bubbling up for you? But the difference is you're not reacting to it. You're not getting lost in the spirals. You're not getting emotionally charged. You're just becoming aware if there's an emotional charge. You're becoming aware of if there is discomfort. You're becoming aware if you're making up stories. Oh, there's the thought. There goes another thought. Kind of like cars on a highway. You're going to have thoughts doing this. You're going to have thoughts. The key to success here is to notice it's a thought and let it go. They're going to come. You cannot stop your thoughts. And it's another pitfall people fall into, is thinking you can stop your thoughts. You cannot stop your thoughts. You can observe them. You can become aware of them, and you can let them pass by like a car on a highway. And if you need more help doing this, I'm going to shoot more videos in the future about being able to let go. So being able to let go of thoughts, of unresourceful emotions, of anxiety, fear, things like that. So, let me know in the comment box. Say yes if this is helpful. Put any questions that you have. Is this clear? Does this make sense to you all? Do you have everything you need to start today, to start right now, to pick 5 minutes? To just put your attention on something in front of you and just observe it, just savor it, just take it in. If this is resonating with you, you got what you need, put yes in the comment box, and this lets me know. And I'm telling you, your life will transform when you start to do this actively, when you take an active effort in training yourself to focus, because focus is what's really missing nowadays. Focus is what's really where people struggle nowadays. If you're not focused, if you don't know how to take an active approach in your focus, you're not going to be successful. You're going to struggle in everything that you do, to lose weight, to quit smoking, to sleep, to be able to sleep, to get enough sleep, to get proper sleep, to be able to make good, healthy eating decisions, to be able to be productive throughout your day. Procrastination is typically a focus issue. This is the cornerstone of success. Practice this. Do not wait. Start today. My life has transformed by doing this. Just a 5-minute exercise. So easy. Do you all have 5 minutes to do this? Put yes in the comment box. Do you all have 5 minutes where it doesn't matter what time of day, but sit down on your couch in whatever position feels comfortable for you? Come on, guys, let me know. Are you guys still alive there? As we wrap up here, like I said, comment below. Let me know if you have any other questions. I'm active in this group. I'm always I'm always going to be answering your questions, whatever you have. This is free information for you guys. People pay a lot of money for this information, but you get to take this today. Start now. What should you do when you notice you are being distracted by an emotion? Thought flashback. Perfect. How do you come back to the present? You just notice it. You just notice, you just become aware that you are distracted. Now, you might go down a rabbit hole for a couple minutes. You might go down a rabbit hole of this thought or emotion for 5 minutes. You may spend the whole 5 minutes about this emotion and going down this rabbit hole, and that's okay, because eventually you're going to come out of it. Eventually you're going to wake up and you're going to realize, wow, I spent like 10 minutes thinking about my dog. Or I just spent the last 5 minutes ruminating about this conversation I had 2 weeks ago. You're going to come out of it. And so what mindfulness allows us to do, the more you practice this, the quicker you're going to break out of these trances, the quicker you're going to break out of these flashbacks, out of these thoughts, out of these emotional spirals, right? But the key here is consistency. You have to do this every single day. Do not miss a day. If you really want to capitalize on this, if you really want to build this muscle, this is really a muscle that we're building here. Just like a bicep in the gym, you're practicing your mind. Your mind is a muscle in itself. Most of us don't exercise it, right? But, we get to forgive ourselves because we're not taught to. Indecisiveness, when I hear indecisiveness, what I hear is fear. There's a fear there, right? There's a reason a decision is not being made. There's a reason a decision is not being made. And actually there is a decision here of not making a decision. There is a decision here of not making a decision. That's the decision, is I'm not making a decision. So indecisiveness actually doesn't exist. When people say I'm indecisive, they're typically in a state of fear or paralysis, and there is a decision, I'm not decided, right? And I'll shoot a video on procrastination. This is a really good, juicy topic, so I will shoot a video on procrastination. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for those of you, I have to jump off here in a few minutes. I do have a consultation I have to jump on, but I'm going to give you, I'm going to wrap this up here with the exercise. So for 30 days, you're going to take 5 minutes or even 10, but 5 minutes minimum. You're going to sit down by yourself. I would recommend by yourself. It's going to help you focus. And you're going to put your attention on whatever's in front of you. You're going to pick one thing. So it could be your table. It could be a chair. It could be a piece of food that's sitting in front of you. It could be a lamp. It could be your phone, right? Make sure it's off, right? So that you're not distracted. Even if you are, that's okay. But if your phone goes off, that's fine. Just notice it's going off. You don't want to react to it. But find one thing you can put your attention on. And you're just going to savor it. You're just going to take it in. You're going to observe it like you're like a researcher looking at something through a microscope. You're just observing it. You're not talking about it with yourself. You're not making up stories. Yes, I do work virtually. Barbara, I do work virtually. I would say about 70% of my clients at this point are virtual, especially with the pandemic, and hypnosis works online or in person. It really doesn't make a difference. So if you want more information about hypnosis, this is all also going to my blog on my website. If you want to see replays, they'll be here in this group, as well as the blog. If you go to buildyourselfinside.com, this is my hypnosis website. This is where you can learn more about me or hypnosis. And if you have questions about that, you can book a free consultation there. And so this exercise, 5 minutes, pick something to put your attention on, and just I know it sounds easy. It's that easy, guys. It's that easy. This is not complicated. Become aware of the colors, the textures, the size, the shape, the shades of whatever it is you're looking at. Is there any nicks in it? If it's a chair, is there any nicks in it? Is there any dents? Is it broken? How does it feel? How do you feel in your body in the presence of this chair or this table? Or your TV or your couch? You can focus on anything. The key here is to literally just be in an observation mode, in a researcher mode. When a researcher is documenting an animal out in its habitat, he's not labeling it, he's not judging it, he's not criticizing it, right? He's just like, interesting that that bird flew over there, or interesting how that animal eats, or interesting the colors of this bird, the colors of this animal. There's no judging or criticizing or storytelling going on. If you're judging, criticizing, or storytelling, pull yourself out of it. It's that easy. Just notice you're doing it. And when you notice you're doing it, you're not going to be doing it. Because you can't be the person noticing you're criticizing something and the person doing the criticizing at the same time. You can't be that person. You can't be these people at the same time. You're either the person doing the criticizing, doing the labeling, doing the judging, or you're the person that's aware of yourself doing these things. Does this make sense? Does this make sense? Does this kind of clear everything up? The virtual resource link, I will go ahead and I'll post all the links down below here. I'll post the link to my website, and that, like I said, there at buildyourselfinside.com, you'll find my blog. You'll find all of the replays of all of these videos, as well as information about hypnosis. And like I said, this is all really valuable insight, guys. This is truly like has changed my life. So start doing this today. 5 minutes, pick an object, put your attention on it, take it in, just take it in. Feel what it's like in your body. Notice what's in front of you. Observe all of the textures, the colors, the shades, anything that's off about it, right? Like I said, if it's a table, notice all the shades, the colors. Is it perfect, or is there nicks in it? And as you're looking at this table, notice if there's any stories coming up about the table. And that's okay. And just notice the stories there, and it'll go away. And if any emotions come up, notice the emotion is there, and it'll go away. And if any thoughts come up, just notice the thoughts are there, and they'll go away. How to get good at this? Start doing this. You're going to fall on your face. You're going to mess up. It's not going to be perfect. Totally fine. Just start doing this today. Observation mode, researcher mode for 5 minutes. And then the goal here is to start doing this with yourself, to not just have your attention on an inanimate object in front of you, but also to be in a dissociation, to be in a non-reactive place when it comes to what you're experiencing in your body. If anxiety starts coming up, your defenses start going up, right? When we feel anxiety, we get defensive. We try to block it. We try to block the anxiety. Well, this never works. We can't go to war with ourselves, right? And so, like I said, always let me know what you want to hear, what you want to learn, what you want to see on this channel, on this page. This is a page for you to answer your questions. I'm going to do my best here. Like I said, I'm active in the groups here, so you can post questions. I'll be answering them, and you can visit my website if you want to book a free consultation to learn more about me or hypnosis or meditation. All of these things are hypnosis. My website's buildyourselfinside.com. I'll put a link below this video, and I'm excited to talk to you, come to you next week more about this topic. Yeah, mine is like a TV. You all have an internal TV going on. The question is, are you controlling it? Are you in control of what's going on here? Are you in control of your responses to what's popping up for you, right? And this is a muscle anybody can build. Anybody can do it. 30 days, 5 minutes a day. Practice this. It's going to change your life. You're going to begin to start noticing things you never noticed before. You're like, I'm telling you, one day I walked outside and I just started crying because I was so present. I never actually saw the trees as they are, nature as it is, just taking it in. It's sort of like that stop to smell the roses, If you don't stop to smell the roses, this is the only regret. This will be the biggest regret you have when all of your prime years are gone, right? Is you didn't stop to smell the roses. You didn't stop to enjoy the experience, to take it in, to really take in the sights, to take in the feelings, to take in the beauty of what's around you. This is really what true mindfulness practice can help us achieve is to take off these goggles, take off these glasses, see things as they are, take it in, and being able to appreciate what's around you. I'll put the link here. It's buildyourselfinside.com. I'll put the link below. I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope this was helpful. Like I said, I'll be coming to you every Tuesday at 10:30 Eastern time with more on these topics. And there's a lot more at my blog and a lot more coming up for you guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Put your questions below, and I hope you all have an amazing rest of your week.